Touch me again, and I'll drown you myself." That was the promise Gregory Hale hissed into Arielle Brooks's ear, seconds before he shoved her into the pool like she was nothing. The crowd didn't hear the threat, but they heard the splash. They heard her choke on the water, and they heard Gregory laugh. He sipped champagne and smirked. "Relax," he said. "She's being dramatic." But when the water went still, too still, even the guests who laughed began to panic. Ruiz, the head of security, shouted, "Sir, she told you she can't swim." Gregory's grin faltered. The sunlight hit his face, revealing something no one had ever seen on him before. Fear, because Arielle wasn't resurfacing. Ruiz dove in, churned the water, searched the bottom. Nothing. "Where is she?" someone screamed. And the moment a uniformed silhouette stepped into view, Gregory Hale, the man who thought he owned the world, realized the only thing sinking faster than Arielle was his life. This is Hidden Black Echoes, where the stories of struggles are told, the rise and the voice of those the world tried to silence. If you believe in how quickly arrogance turns into danger, and how a single act of cruelty can expose the truth behind a powerful man's smile, hit like and subscribe. Because in the next few minutes, you'll see what happens when the wrong person is pushed and the right father steps forward. Gregory took a slow sip of champagne, acting as if he'd merely flicked a leaf off his perfect marble patio. "Relax," he announced to the crowd. "She's being dramatic." Victoria Lane, his glamorous, cruel fiancée, leaned back in her designer chair, recording the scene on her phone. "Greg, baby, make her do it again," she drawled. "This is going viral." The guests forced laughter. Some were amused, some horrified, but none dared challenge Gregory Hale, the man who built tech empires and ruined competitors with a single email. Only one person moved. Ruiz, the head of security. "Sir," Ruiz said urgently, "she told us she can't swim." "And I told her to clean," Gregory replied calmly. "If she can't handle water, she shouldn't work near a pool." Arielle's head broke the surface again, eyes wide, mouth trembling, before she was pulled down a third time. Her foot hit nothing but depth. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred. The muffled world above grew quieter, like someone dimmed life itself. Ruiz stepped forward. "Mr. Hale, this isn't safe." Gregory cut him off sharply. "She's faking it, Ruiz. She'll float eventually." But she didn't. The water stilled, too still. The guests shifted nervously. Victoria lowered her phone. Greg, I don't see her anymore." Gregory frowned, stepping closer to the pool edge. "She's under there somewhere." "Somewhere?" Victoria's voice cracked. "Gregory, what if she's not breathing?" Ruiz stripped off his jacket. "I'm going in." Before he could jump, Gregory grabbed his arm, a reflex he didn't understand himself. "Wait." Everyone stared at him. Gregory's face had gone pale. The sunlight made him look almost sick. "Where is she?" he whispered. No one answered. Because no one knew. The pool, seconds ago a scene of laughter and cruelty, now looked like an unmarked grave, calm on the surface, hiding something beneath. Ruiz dove in. Guests gasped as waves churned. He swam down, searching, kicking desperately. Nothing. Victoria's breathing hitched. Greg, she's been under for almost 7 minutes." "Stop," he snapped, but his voice cracked. "Just stop." For the first time, the man who owned everything lost control. One guest whispered, "Did he just kill her?" Gregory heard it. His stomach twisted. His empire, his name, his fortune. It all flashed before his eyes, crumbling in seconds. Headlines, lawsuits, prison, ruin. But worse than all of it, he remembered the flash of terror in Arielle's eyes, and he realized this wasn't a joke anymore. Ruiz resurfaced, panting. "She's not here!" Gregory staggered back, shaking his head. No. No, she has to be. Then, a voice thundered from the entrance gate. "Where is my daughter?" The courtyard froze. Every head turned. Gregory froze with his arms still half raised, water dripping from his hand, the smug smile sliding off his face as the heavy, disciplined footsteps echoed across the patio. A man appeared at the gate. Tall, broad-shouldered, gray at the temples, back straight like a steel pole. His posture alone could silence a battlefield. His uniform, pressed khaki shirt, polished insignia, and a chest full of medals made Gregory's face drain of color instantly. General Franklin Ward, 4 stars, retired, but still powerful enough to shake a city. Arielle pushed herself up from the water, coughing as she tried to wipe chlorine from her eyes. When she looked towards the gate, her breath caught. "Daddy?" The general's eyes softened for exactly 1 second. "One moment, sweetheart." Then his expression turned to ICE. He walked forward with the slow, controlled stride of a man used to being watched by entire armies. Every step made Gregory shrink further into himself. The guests, who had once been laughing, now held their phones tight but didn't dare speak. Even the breeze felt like it stopped to salute. General Ward stopped 3 feet from Gregory. His voice came low, calm, deadly. "Would you like to explain to me why my daughter is soaked, trembling and bleeding from the elbow?" Gregory swallowed so hard it was audible. "Sir, this isn't what it looks like." The general stepped closer. Now their faces were inches apart. "So what does it look like?" he asked. "When a grown man lays his hands on a woman who works for him?" A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. Gregory stammered. I was just, she wasn't obeying instructions, and she was being disrespectful." General Ward's brow lowered just slightly, an expression people prayed never to see. "Disrespectful? To you?" He looked Gregory up and down, disgust growing. "You threw her into a pool over disrespect?" Gregory opened his mouth, but his voice cracked. I was just... It was a joke, sir. A harmless..." The general's voice snapped like thunder. "Does she look harmlessly laughing to you?" The entire patio jumped. Arielle stood shivering, hair dripping, uniform clinging to her skin, eyes red and embarrassed. General Ward moved to her, placing one steady hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to explain anything, not now." Then he turned back to Gregory. "Mr. Dalton," he said in a controlled, almost soft tone, the tone soldiers knew to fear the most. "Do you understand who you just assaulted?" Gregory's jaw shook. "Yes, sir." "Your daughter." "No," Ward corrected coldly. "You assaulted a civilian, while endangering 3 minors, inside your own property, in front of witnesses." Gasps spread. The twins in the corner clung to each other. General Ward nodded at the phone's recording. "Good. Keep filming," he said. "Let the truth stay intact." Gregory looked around desperately. "Please, General... Sir, we can handle this privately." "Privately," Ward repeated. "I saw enough from the gate to know what you are." He stepped forward until Gregory's back hit the patio wall. "A coward who picks on the ones he thinks are beneath him," Gregory's fiancée, Bianca, ran out, heels clacking on the tile. "General Ward, please, this is all a misunderstanding." Ward didn't even turn toward her. "My daughter protected your children? And this is how your household treats her?" Bianca froze, silent. Two teenage girls, the ones Arielle had saved earlier, peered from behind the sliding doors, fear in their eyes. One whispered, "Mom, he's right." General Ward took a slow breath, calming himself. Then he spoke with the authority of a decorated commander. "As of now, Arielle Ward resigns from your employment, and you," he leveled a finger at Gregory, "are going to answer for what you did today." Gregory's voice cracked. What do you mean?" Ward turned towards the crowd. "Does anyone here have objections to providing statements?" "You all saw what happened." Hands went up instantly. Phones were already recording. Gregory's world collapsed right there on the patio. Bianca covered her mouth as her daughters whispered, "Mom, you have to let him face the consequences." General Ward wrapped his jacket around Arielle's shoulders. "Come, sweetheart," he said gently. "You're safe now." But as he led her toward the gate, Arielle suddenly turned back. "Daddy, wait." Her voice was soft but steady. Everyone watched as she stepped closer to Gregory, still trembling, still drenched, but standing tall. "You didn't break me," she said quietly. "But you exposed yourself." Gregory looked down, shame washing over him. Arielle added, "And just so you know, I only took this job because I wanted to learn how to be independent. You never even asked who I really was." She turned to leave. General Ward placed a proud hand on her back, and Gregory Dalton collapsed into a patio chair, realizing he hadn't thrown a maid into the pool. He'd thrown a general's daughter and destroyed his own life in the process. The Dalton mansion, once buzzing with music, chatter, and arrogance, now felt like a courthouse waiting for judgment. Gregory sat hunched on the patio chair where he'd collapsed minutes earlier. His shirt clung to his back with cold sweat. The laughter of guests had turned into the low murmur of witnesses gathering in small circles, replaying the moment he pushed Arielle into the pool. Phones still pointed in his direction like glowing weapons. Inside, Bianca stood frozen behind the glass doors, mascara streaking down her face. Her daughters hovered near her, whispering urgently. "Mom, we saw it. You can't defend him this time. He could have drowned her. He scares us." Bianca shut her eyes, pained but unable to deny the truth. Outside, Gregory inhaled shakily as a black SUV rolled to a stop at the driveway. Its doors opened with military precision. 3 uniformed officers stepped out. Behind them, General Franklin Ward. The backyard fell silent again, as if no one dared breathe. Ward approached, his stride steady, jaw set. His daughter walked beside him, wrapped in his jacket, her hair still wet but her posture stronger than before. Arielle didn't look at Gregory. Not once. The lead officer spoke. "General Ward, we received your call. Multiple reports also came in from guests." He glanced at the patio, seeing over a dozen witnesses. Gregory stood instinctively, hands raised as if he were facing a firing squad. "Officers, wait. This is a misunderstanding. This is my home and she's exaggerating." Ward cut him off with the calm of a man who'd commanded battlefields. "My daughter doesn't exaggerate. And you're done giving orders." The officer turned. "Mr. Dalton, we need to hear your statement." Gregory tried to steady his voice. "I didn't assault her. She disobeyed instructions. She was rude. I just pushed her a little." A guest shouted from the back, "Liar, you shoved her with both hands." Another chimed in, "I got it all on video." Phones lifted again. Gregory flinched. The officer nodded towards the witnesses. "We'll collect their footage." Arielle finally spoke, her voice quiet but clear. "He grabbed my wrist. He dragged me toward the edge. I told him I couldn't swim. He said I needed to learn respect." Gasps rippled across the yard. General Ward clenched his jaw so hard the muscle pulsed. But he didn't interrupt her. Not once. If this moment pulls you in, take a second to like this video and subscribe for more stories where arrogance collapses faster than its victims ever could. Arielle continued, eyes locked on the officer. "He didn't let go until I hit the water. I cut my elbow on the pool railing, trying not to fall in." She lifted her arm. Red, scraped, swelling. The officer's face hardened. Gregory stumbled backward. "She's lying! She's lying! She wants to ruin me because she hates discipline!" Ward finally moved. He stepped forward, casting a shadow over Gregory. "Discipline," he repeated, voice low and dangerous. "Discipline is what you use on yourself. What you did was cowardice." Gregory's lips trembled. The officer cleared his throat. "Sir, please put your hands behind your back." Gregory's face collapsed. No, officer, I'm the victim. She embarrassed me. She disrespected my property." Bianca finally stepped outside. "Gregory!" Her voice was so soft it barely carried. But when he turned, she continued, louder. "They're arresting you because you did it." "Stop lying." Gregory stared at her like she'd stabbed him. Even his daughters stepped forward, gathered behind their mother like a protective wall. "Dad, we saw it." "You hurt her." "You always hurt people." Those words shattered the last illusion he had left. The officer repeated firmly, "Hands behind your back." Gregory obeyed this time. As the cuffs clicked shut, a wave of whispers swept through the backyard. General Ward looked down at him, expression carved from stone. "You thought she was powerless because she worked for you," he said, "but you forgot something important." He leaned closer. "You never know who someone belongs to." Gregory's breath shook as officers led him toward the SUV. Before they reached the gate, Arielle stepped forward, not to confront him, just to speak truth. "You didn't just scare me," she said softly. "You showed your daughters the kind of man you really are." Gregory squeezed his eyes shut. Because he knew she was right. The SUV doors slammed. Engine rumbled. Gregory Dalton, once untouchable, loud, smug, was driven away in cold silence. The moment his car disappeared down the street, Bianca collapsed into tears. Her daughters wrapped their arms around her. General Ward turned to Arielle. "You all right, sweetheart?" For the first time since she'd fallen into the pool, she allowed herself to cry. Just a little. Ward pulled her close, holding her with the gentleness of a father who'd nearly lost his child. Guests lingered, quiet and humbled. One whispered, "She was just the maid?" Another corrected softly, "No, she was the only decent person here." And as the sun began to set, Arielle stood at the center of the patio, still wrapped in her father's jacket, still shaking from adrenaline, but no longer afraid. The Dalton mansion felt heavier after the police SUV disappeared down the street. Guests drifted around the backyard in stunned silence, unsure whether to stay, leave, or pretend they hadn't witnessed a public reckoning. Inside, the long hallway echoed with soft sobs. Bianca sat on the staircase, shoulders trembling, mascara streaking down her cheeks like ink running off a ruined painting. Her daughters stood around her, one holding her hand, another rubbing her back, the youngest leaning against her knee. Arielle watched from a distance, clutching General Ward's jacket tighter around herself. She had never seen this family look human. General Ward stood beside her. "You don't need to go near them," he murmured. "I know," she whispered. But something tugged at her. The image of those three girls watching their father being handcuffed, their world cracking open in seconds. Arielle took a slow breath. But they need someone right now. Someone who won't lie to them. Ward hesitated, then nodded. "I'll be right behind you." She approached the staircase quietly, footsteps gentle against the polished marble. Bianca lifted her head, eyes red. "Oh, Arielle," Bianca whispered, voice cracking. "I'm so sorry." Arielle knelt down, still damp from the pool, placing a steady hand on the railing. "You don't have to apologize to me. You've been protecting them." Bianca swallowed hard. "Not enough." The oldest daughter spoke first, her voice shaking. "Miss Arielle, were you scared? When he pushed you?" Arielle didn't hide the truth. "Yes, I was terrified." The girl nodded, tears rolling down her soft cheeks. "We were scared too." Bianca covered her face with trembling hands. "I should have left him years ago, but I kept telling myself things would change." General Ward approached, his presence calm but strong. "Ma'am, abuse doesn't disappear just because we hope it will. It grows in silence." Bianca lowered her hands. "I was scared. I thought if I kept everything perfect, he'd stay calm. I thought if the girls stayed quiet, he wouldn't snap." "But he always snapped," the middle daughter whispered. Her tiny voice carried a lifetime of fear. Arielle sat beside them on the step, meeting their eyes. "You didn't deserve that. None of you did." Bianca clenched her jaw. "He humiliated you in front of everyone, and still you're here comforting my children." She shook her head. "How do you do that?" Arielle inhaled slowly. "Because I know what fear looks like. I grew up watching my mother be treated like she was invisible. I refused to become someone who ignored other people's pain." The youngest daughter sniffled. "Is Daddy going to jail?" Arielle looked at General Ward. He knelt down so he was eye level with the little girl. "Sweetheart, your dad needs help. He hurt someone today. Grown-ups have to face consequences when they do that." "But will he come back?" she whispered. Ward's voice softened. "Yes, but he won't come back as the man he was today. That's something he'll have to earn." Bianca wiped her eyes, finally sitting up straighter. "I'm filing for separation." The words surprised even her. She covered her mouth, stunned she'd actually spoken them aloud. Arielle touched her hand gently. "That's brave." "No," Bianca whispered. "Staying was the cowardly part." Her daughters leaned into her, arms wrapping around her sides. For the first time in years, she hugged them back without holding anything in. No fear of Gregory's eyes watching, no pressure to maintain a perfect facade. The house felt different now. Lighter, as if a storm had passed, leaving ruins, but also a chance to rebuild. Arielle stood. "Do you need anything? I can help you with the girls until things settle." But Bianca quickly shook her head. "No, you've done enough for us today." General Ward stepped forward, resting a comforting hand on Arielle's shoulder. "My daughter isn't going anywhere unless she chooses to." Bianca met Arielle's eyes. "What you did today, no one has ever stood up to him like that." She swallowed. But you shouldn't come back into this house until I fix what's broken. Arielle nodded gratefully, relieved but still compassionate. I understand. From outside, car doors slammed. Some guests were already leaving, murmuring about everything they saw, some in shock, some in guilt for laughing earlier. General Ward turned to Bianca. If you need resources, lawyers, security, housing, contact me. You don't have to do this alone. Bianca exhaled shakily. Thank you, General. Arielle stepped back, and the daughters quickly wrapped their arms around her legs, hugging her tightly. Thank you, the oldest whispered, for showing us what courage looks like. Arielle blinked back tears. Courage looks like all of you right now. The girls let her go, reluctantly. General Ward guided Arielle toward the door, his protective arm around her shoulders. Behind them, Bianca whispered to her daughters, Girls, today we start over. And for the first time in that house, it didn't sound like a wish. It sounded like a promise. The Dalton mansion sat quiet for the first time in years. Police cars were gone. Guests had scattered. And the storm of humiliation, truth, and fear had been replaced by an eerie calm, the kind that settles right before a new beginning. Arielle and General Ward walked down the driveway, leaving behind the echo of a broken marriage, but carrying the weight of what they'd witnessed. Arielle's clothes were still damp from the pool, and the cold wind stung her skin. But she didn't complain. She just kept walking, her steps slow, thoughtful. You okay? Her father asked. Arielle hesitated before answering. Yes, but I can't stop thinking about those girls. Her voice cracked slightly. They've lived in fear longer than anyone realized. General Ward nodded. And today, you gave them something their father never did. What's that? Safety, he said softly, and someone brave enough to stand between them and the storm. Arielle didn't respond. She simply wiped a stray tear and kept walking. But they didn't get far. The front door burst open behind them. Miss Arielle! It was the girls, all three of them, running barefoot across the pavement, dresses fluttering in the breeze. Bianca hurried behind them, shouting for them to be careful, but they didn't stop. They reached Arielle and clung to her legs, wrapping their arms around her as if she were the only steady thing in a world that had suddenly flipped upside down. Don't leave, the youngest cried. We don't want you to go, the middle daughter sniffled. You make us feel safe, the oldest whispered, her voice trembling. Arielle touched their heads gently, overwhelmed. Oh, girls, you'll be okay. You're not alone anymore. Bianca caught up, out of breath, wiping fresh tears from her eyes. I told them you needed space, she said, but they insisted. General Ward stepped aside, giving them room. Bianca took a slow breath. Arielle, I owe you something. Arielle shook her head. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do, Bianca insisted. You protected my children today. You protected me. And you did it without fear, even when Gregory turned violent. Arielle swallowed hard, remembering the shove, the cold water, the eyes staring down at her like she was beneath him. Bianca continued, voice steady but fragile. The truth is, I've known this marriage was dying for a long time. I stayed because I thought leaving would destroy the girls. Her voice cracked. But staying destroyed them even more. Arielle's heart softened. You're stronger than you think. No, Bianca whispered. You showed me how strong a woman can be. General Ward stepped closer, his voice calm but firm. My daughter didn't do anything extraordinary. She did what every good person should do, Stand up when it matters." Bianca nodded gratefully. "I want to do the same now." She reached into her pocket and pulled out an envelope. Thick, white, sealed. Arielle blinked. "What's that?" "My resignation letter," Bianca said. "From him, from fear, from pretending." She exhaled shakily. "I'm filing for full custody, moving out, and rebuilding our lives, away from Gregory." The girls clung tighter to their mother at her words, not afraid anymore, but relieved. "And," Bianca added softly, turning to Arielle, "I want you to be part of that new beginning." Arielle stiffened, surprised. "Me?" "If you'd consider it," Bianca said quietly, "as the girls' nanny, someone they trust, someone who listens, someone who sees them." The girl's eyes glowed with hope. Arielle's hand flew to her heart. I don't know what to say." General Ward smiled gently. "Say what's true." Arielle looked at the girls, their hopeful faces shining like fragile lanterns in the twilight. "I'd be honored," she whispered. The girls squealed, hugging her again, relief pouring out of them like sunlight breaking through clouds. Bianca wiped her tears. "Thank you." General Ward cleared his throat. "Well," he said with a faint grin, "I guess my daughter just saved another family." Arielle nudged him playfully. "Dad?" He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "I've never been prouder." Bianca laughed softly, the first real laugh she'd made all day. "You raised a remarkable woman, General." "I just gave her the tools," he replied. "She built the courage." A warm breeze whispered across the driveway, rustling the trees overhead. For the first time in years, maybe ever, the Dalton house wasn't a place of intimidation. It was a place of healing, a place where truth finally outweighed fear. Arielle squeezed the girls' hands. "Ready to go inside?" They nodded eagerly. She turned toward the house, not as a maid walking into a stranger's mansion, but as the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter built on safety, on truth, on courage. The door opened, and together, Arielle, the girls, Bianca, and General Ward stepped into a future where no one would ever hurt them again. And somewhere far away, in a holding cell he never imagined himself in, Gregory Dalton sat alone. For the first time in his life, he was the one powerless, and the world he tried to control was finally free. If stories like this remind you that real strength isn't measured by status or wealth, but by courage, dignity, and the choice to protect what's right, hit like and subscribe, so you never miss the next story where cruelty collapses, and justice walks in with its head held high,